Hello, my love. Welcome to the Shellee Rose podcast. I'm your host, Shellee Rose. I'm a mum of two, a wife, and I have a huge passion for all things mindset, motherhood, health, and living life to your full potential. I support women who desire to rewrite and reclaim the deepest levels of fulfillment within themselves and create a life based on their terms. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, my love. Welcome back to another episode of the Shellee Rose podcast. I'm your host, Shellee Rose, and today we have a different setup. So this year, you may already know this, but this year I committed to the podcast. And look, I've been on a little bit of a break, and when I say I've committed to the podcast, I really have been playing it safe, and I have really just not prioritized it enough. I decided to start going into a studio because I was like, you know what, it's going to make me prioritize it because it costs me a lot of money. And in the season that I'm in, it was actually just making it harder than what I needed it to be because I have all the gear and absolutely no idea. But I've had a little bit of a pause because I am currently in the process of, I don't even want to say currently in the process, I would say I have pivoted a bit, and I'm kind of stepping into a bit of a new era, if you will. Now, this feels really exciting for me. It also feels extremely scary because I'm the kind of person who, once I decide something, I feel like I have to commit. And kind of like stepping into this new version of myself and stepping into just owning who I'm here to serve now is really, really scary because for a very long time I have been playing it safe. So if this episode can be anything for you, then let it be your permission slip to stop playing it safe and honor your evolution. Because the reality is that this has come about because I had two conversations in the space of 2 weeks, one with one of my best friends and then the other with my mentor. And I was speaking to the fact that I felt so I just felt disconnected, and I felt there was kind of like a lack of alignment in the way that I was showing up in business. Now, I have the most incredible clients. I have clients that definitely are very aligned to this new evolution of mine. But the way that I was speaking to things, the messaging, the way that I was showing up in business just felt really disconnected. And I had a conversation with one of my best friends. She came down and surprised me for my birthday. And the thing that she said to me was, "You support people like me." And I was like, "What?" And I didn't really understand it. And then maybe 2 weeks later, I had a conversation with my mentor and she ran me through a series of questions and she was like, "Shellee, you're the coach for me." And what I landed in is that the person who I have been serving, the person who I've been speaking to is not the person who I am now the coach for. Now, that's not to say that this was not sacred. That's not to say that this wasn't important work. Like, I truly do believe that the healing elements of this work are so fucking powerful, and I would not be where I am or who I am today without that. But I have evolved so much as a human. I've evolved so much as a mum. I've evolved so much as a wife. I have evolved so much as a friend. And most importantly, I've evolved so much as a coach. And what I've come to realize is that whilst every single thing in my life has evolved and grown, I had not allowed that same evolution be true for my client and for the people that I'm now calling in. And the reason I wanted to speak to this and the reason I wanted to do a podcast episode on this is because I believe we get stuck in the stage of healing. We get stuck in the stage of always needing to go 10 layers deep. We get stuck in this almost like this, I don't want to be I think if I just strip it all back, I don't want to be speaking to your problems. I don't want to be speaking to the disempowered version of you because I know that there is so much more there for you. And I know that there is so much available to you. And I don't want to speak to the disempowered version of you anymore. I want to speak to the empowered version of you. So I want to take this opportunity to call you forward, because you don't need to always be healing. You don't always need to be taking things 10 layers deep. You don't need to always be mind mapping your patterns. And whilst, yes, that is important, absolutely that is important, at some point you have to get to a point in your journey where you stop looking at all the stuff behind you and actually start looking at all the stuff ahead of you. Something I said to my client yesterday was, we can keep going back to the reason why you do what you do, or we can just decide in this moment that you're no longer going to do that. Because, like I said, my whole business was built around you understanding why you do think and feel the things you do. And like I said, that work is sacred. But mentorship is not just about healing. Mentorship is not just about understanding your patterns and understanding why you do think and feel the things you do. Mentorship is also about expansion and about calling you forward and about making sure that you're meeting and hitting and seeing your full potential. And I don't want to be speaking to the version of you who needs to be fixed, because you don't. You're not broken, and you do not need to be fixed. And in fact, most of the time, we actually just need to be called to rise. And that's where I feel like I am really just honoring my own evolution in that. And I want this to be a place, a space, an opportunity for you to see where you are potentially staying stuck in old versions of yourself and not letting yourself evolve into who you actually are, because you have done the work. You are self-aware, you are self-led, you have done the healing, you understand why you operate the way in which you do, but you know that there is more. And my coaching, the way in which I mentor, it's not about always taking things 10 layers deep, because sometimes we don't need that. Sometimes that actually just gives us an opportunity to stay stuck there. The way in which I want to mentor moving forward is meeting you where you are whilst calling you to where you want to be. And therefore, I don't want to be speaking to a version of yourself that you've outgrown. And I don't want to be playing into stories, narratives, and limitations that don't necessarily call you into your full potential. Now, this is me taking ownership of where I need to call myself into my full potential, because like I said, I have done a lot of work on myself, and I have done a lot of work on becoming this version of myself. And now it's me honoring that evolution as well. One thing that I have really landed in as well is, just because you are self-aware, just because you are self-led, just because you have done the work, just because you can hold a lot, doesn't mean that you're not a human being that needs to hold it all. Because this is even something that I struggle with myself, where I don't really have too many people in this space, be it in the life coaching space, that can really hold me in everything in which I desire for myself and look at life from a really holistic approach. When you go to a business coach, you're looking at very tangible things, be it funnels, messaging, revenue, visibility, all of that. When you come to a coach like me, we're zooming out and we're looking at business, we're looking at health, we're looking at relationships, we're looking at marriage, we're looking at sex life, we're looking at energy, we're looking at how you're nourishing yourself, we're looking at your boundaries, we're looking at everything as a whole. And that's where this work is so powerful, because how often do you create space to look at everything as a whole, especially when you are a very high level woman that has a massive vision, because you're always focused on what it is that you need to execute to get to the goal in which you want. But are you creating space for yourself to look at what that might actually be costing you, and where we can potentially bridge any gaps to get you to where you want to go, to allow you to have more, to allow you to receive more, to allow you to hold more, to allow you to just feel more embodied in your leadership, because you aren't just constantly going. You're actually creating space for you to sit in the being. So a lot of the work that I now want to focus on is meeting you where you're at, holding you in the duality of it all, holding you in the bigness, whilst equally holding you in the moments when it feels like you're fucking got the weight of the world on your shoulders, because I get it. And I know that that is so true for a lot of women. I want this to be a space where you are witnessed, where you are seen, where you are heard, a space where you actually get to take the weight vest off and allow yourself to exhale. So now moving forward, what I am going to be creating, and really where my next evolution is stepping into the woman who holds the leader, who holds the woman who is holding it all. You are already leading, but you know that there's more. And I really want to create a space where I can support you in being able to actually create more for yourself, being able to hold more for yourself, being able to expand your capacity, being able to be held in the bigness of the vision, but equally being held in the moments where you just want to burn everything to the ground. And in that, knowing that the more held you are, the more that you can actually hold. You can hold the vision, you can hold the relationships, you can hold the emotion, the rest, you can hold the success, you can hold the money, you can continually expand your capacity to hold it all, because you are being held. And I think that is the most fucking powerful place for any female to be, any woman to be, any high level woman who wants to create such a big life for herself. I am so fucking excited. I truly am so excited for this next evolution of Shellee Rose, because I am stepping so wholeheartedly into what I know my power is and what I know is so possible for you. And it feels so exciting. It truly feels so exciting. You don't need anyone to save you. You just need a mirror. You need someone who can challenge you. You need someone who can mirror you. You need someone who can hold you. You need someone who can support you. And someone who is there, who can meet you at every fucking level. And I am so excited to be that person. Now, if you are still here and you're listening, I want to invite you to ask yourself, where in life are you still showing up like you need healing? Where what you really need is holding? Where are you craving to be seen in your wholeness and not just in your wounds? Very fucking powerful. Where are you ready to rise into more without pushing or proving? Because something I believe to my core is that you do not need to earn your next level. You just need to say yes to it. And if I can be anything for you, I hope to be a permission slip for you to see how much power you have within, and for you to be able to honor every single evolution of yourself and grow and evolve at the rate in which the world deserves and the world requires. Because you not becoming the version of yourself that you desire to become is of a disservice to the people who need you. And that doesn't just mean coaching. That doesn't just mean in work. Like, that's in all areas of your life. Me not stepping into this evolution is being a disservice to my husband. It's being a disservice to my children. It's being a disservice to my clients. It's being a disservice to my friends. It's being a disservice to all of the people around me. So I want you to really start honoring your evolution and really start honoring where you are capping your own potential because you're staying stuck in an old version of yourself. And yeah, get excited, because I am really excited to lead the way for you all in really seeing how good it gets to fucking be. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so glad that you are here on this journey with me. And I'm so excited to, bring you all along for the journey. So thank you so much, my love. Have the best day.